Russell's Arch asks,
what's the difference between Korean and North American humor? Do they have black humor and sarcasm and knock-knock jokes and blah, 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 blah? It's a very long question that I can't memorize. Also, has there ever been a time in which you did a joke which you thought was funny but went terribly wrong?
I'm gonna already say yes to that last one.
Pretty much, don't all of our jokes go terribly wrong and nobody finds them funny? I don't find a lot of our jokes funny. You know what? I think that I'm the funniest one between the two of us, and I really carry the humor in this
Sometimes
relationship.
Simon laughs at his own jokes. I don't even need to be
Because
around.
I'm so funny. I'm a
Funny
really
looking.
funny guy. I think I'm the funniest person I ever met. I don't have a lot of friends, but I do think that I'm the funniest person I ever met.
You have like what, 2 friends?
You're my friend.
You're my
Spudgy's
friend
my
too.
friend. Yeah,
There
you're
you
right.
go.
2 friends.
Yeah, 2 friends.
Yep. I entertain myself. That's all that I need.
You're the best. You're the best. Oh! Oh!
So yes, we did notice some differences between Korean and North American humor. The major difference is that there's not a lot of sarcasm in Korean humor.
Yeah, and sarcasm's the kind of thing that can go terribly, terribly wrong amongst your Korean friends.
I didn't really sleep with your mother. It was a joke. No, you can ask her. Really, I did.
Yes. Don't do your mama jokes.
No.
Those definitely.
No.
Those definitely.
No.
Your Oma is so fat that when she makes kimbap, people put her in the center of the roll.
You can see why I'm the funnier one in this
I
relationship.
tried to improvise an Oma joke. Your Oma is so fat that sometimes when I'm on the ground using the Onil heater, I use her as a cushion. Your Oma's so fat when she goes to Mogyuktongs and gets in the water, she knocks everybody out from the displacement of water.
So basically, we would avoid using a lot of sarcasm until you get to know your Korean friends. I think that it can come across as rude, especially since Korean culture is very polite, a lot of polite endings. I think saying something really insulting or even something that might be like a joke, but you don't mean it, but you're acting mean, that can come across as kind of rude. So let's just avoid the sarcasm.
Might not be understood all too
No.
well. We even had some situations in which back when we were teaching, like ages and ages ago, I don't even
Last year.
remember. Yes.
For me.
We actually had a student for April Fools come up to us and be like, "Teacher, you're ugly! April Fools!" And we're like, that's not how April Fools really works. You don't just
It's
walk
not
up
like
to
the
someone and
day
say,
to insult
hey,
people.
it's not insult day. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be like tricks.
Well, do you remember what my students did for me for April Fool's Day?
I don't remember.
They lined up all their shoes by the window and wrote a note that said, "Teacher, I can't take this dress anymore." And then they all pretended that they jumped out the 4th floor to their death. And so that when I came into the classroom and it was empty and I saw their shoes, I
And
went
read
over
the
and
notes,
looked.
and you looked out the
They
window.
were all lying on the ground, like pretending that they were dead. And then I looked out the window and they went, "April Fools!"
I'm sorry,
And
that's
I'm like,
hilarious. That's pretty
That's
hilarious
not
right there.
funny.
No.
No, that
Okay,
is not
it's-
it. That is no.
No, that's not funny, like in like the general message, but like it's funny that they all got together and did that and laid out the
Yes.
window.
Now there are some comedy shows that exist in Korea, like gag concerts are a really big one, and they
Yes.
do have Korean SNL, and it is similar to like North American style comedy shows, and that you have like people
Skits
making
and
skits.
whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, and they do like a lot of characters.
But
and
the one thing we found about the characters is that we never really found any like darker characters,
Yeah.
not like a Rick James strung out on cocaine stepping on your couch.
or Dave
like
Chappelle's characters.
yeah,
that are kind of
any
rude
Dave
sometimes.
Chappelle. Yeah, and there's no rudeness. It's more like people taking on other people's roles.
And the roles that they usually do are kind of like stereotypical Korean people. So you'll see like a young guy pretending to be like an old Korean ajashi, and he's acting over exaggerating an ajashi, or like
Cross-dressing humor as well. It's pretty much like what we've noticed is people trying to imitate other people's roles, even though they're not part of that role. And in imitating those roles, and they make funny observations about that role.
But it's pretty clean, right?
It is
like,
very
now that
clean.
I think about it, like
Yes.
there isn't a lot of like sex humor
No.
or I mean there's a lot of body function humor.
Yes.
But not really like
It is like very physical humor. Like there are a lot of fart jokes and poo jokes that we've noticed.
lots of dancing and jigging.
Yes.
So the most common kind of humor that we see in Korea will be the ones that you see on Korean variety shows and dramas and in the movies, and that would be the like over exaggeration from your body, like whoa, 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 do the replays and stuff. And it's not just over exaggeration, it's also the editing that plays heavily in it as well. So the most common use of humor that we see would be the kind that you see in Korean dramas, variety shows, and in the movies. And in our opinion, that would be the like overreacting with your body.
There's a lot of physicality in there. A lot of it depends on like facial expressions and like bodily humor and stuff like that. Not so much like verbal humor.
So if you watch a Korean drama, you'll see a lot of scenes where somebody like stumbles and falls and something funny happens, like they touch somebody or like they
Oh my
push
god, I
somebody.
fell and I fell upon you. Oh.
Yeah, that's how like the characters meet. Or like they're eating soup and it's really hot. Like if I'm eating soup, I'm gonna eat the soup and I'm gonna be like, this is really hot. But they'll be like,
Oh my god.
you know.
My mouth is on fire.
So that kind of Simon just spat all over me. My glasses did nothing to protect my eyes. And we personally don't find that kind of humor that funny.
Not really. It doesn't do it for us.
No, and we actually had to experience something awful like this. You remember
Oh
the
my
TV
god,
show?
I do remember this. So a while ago, we had to do this small little TV series that would advertise these LG kimchi fridges. And what we had to do, we had to travel around Korea and try different kinds of kimchi. You might have seen we did a couple videos about them a while ago when we were traveling
Oh
around.
yeah, when we went to the Secret Garden
Yes, we went
restaurant.
to the Secret Garden place.
Yes.
The director was really annoyed with us because we weren't acting the way that he wanted us to act. We were supposed to try some kimchi and we were supposed to have a good reaction.
Like, oh, this
like,
is so
wow,
good.
this is delicious. So I remember I tried a piece of the kimchi, like, wow, this is really good.
And that was already
Yeah.
us overreacting.
Because I'm like, it's kimchi. I like kimchi. I'm not gonna be like, wow, this is great kimchi. But he wanted me to really, really show how much I loved it. So then afterwards, I'm like, okay, let me try it again. I tried the kimchi again, like, oh my god, this is wonderful.
And he's like fluttering his body around and like flapping his body parts in my face.
The director's like, cut, that's not good enough.
With more enthusiasm.
More enthusiasm. So then I'm like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. You know what? Let's try this. I tried the kimchi. I'm like, this is the best. I shoryuken in the air. I started running around. I did a cartwheel in the background, running back and forth. And I'm like, yes, this is so good. And then the director's like, yes, that is acceptable. So that kind of leads to our last point that like a lot of the humor that we find, especially when it comes to variety shows, is like in a variety show, it's pretty basic. You just have a few people like speaking with each other, but they make the situation very funny by number one, over exaggerating when it comes to their facial responses to one another. And number two, in editing the video, they also over exaggerate with the responses there too.
I really want that editing pack.
It's wonderful. They always do like the 3 times you play the, like if somebody gets hurt, like, oh, but they like do it from different angles and different zoom. And while you're at it, you're supposed to make these like little like drops from my head, and you're supposed to have like really like
cartoon drops.
Cartoony fonts and whatnot. And it's pretty much like even they have laugh tracks on it as well to
Yeah.
support it.
Yeah, always that kid track. The one that goes
Yeah.
like, I think that a lot of people that are getting into Korean variety shows can find it a bit odd. I know that a lot of our friends will be like, I can't stand it. I'm like, just give it some time.
We
It's
are
gonna grow
very
on you.
inspired by it. We really
Yeah.
want to make like a really cheesy show ourselves.
I'm gonna do some fist pumping and hopefully in post-production it'll have sound effects. Yes, you hear it? So much sound effects. So I guess the final thing we're gonna say is that even if you don't like that kind of humor, like the over-exaggeration doesn't do it for you, it's kind of cool because even if you don't speak Korean, when you see their over-exaggerations and you hear like the laugh tracks, it does kind of make you smile and laugh sometimes. So you can kind of appreciate the humor without the language.
It's very inviting.
I'm not sure I'd use the phrase inviting.
I invite you to laugh with me.
See why I'm the funny one here?
The invitation is open. I still think I'm funnier.
No, you're funny looking. Does that count?
So that's it for this week's TLDR. If you have a question for next TLDR, leave your question in the comment section below.
Or check out the questions already asked and you can thumb them up and bring them to our attention and perhaps we will choose them for next week.
And don't forget to subscribe for more TLDRs where Martina tries to be funnier than me but always fails.
I think we should see who can tell the funniest song joke. Knock knock!
Who's there?
Doctor.
You stole that joke from me! It's supposed to be Doctor Who!
Yes, correct. It is Doctor Who. Magical TARDIS escape! I plead the fifth!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do what you wanna do
In living color. Do you remember Fire Marshal Bell?
Something like that.
Don't you remember him?
I don't think anybody watching this is actually. Does anybody watching this know
Do you
what
remember
Martina's
Fire
trying to
Marshal
do?
Bell? Hello, children! Today we're gonna talk about safety.